Today we're looking at an extremely familiar looking lens in a rather cool box. Now we are testing it on the T4, so I'll jump in and out of the frame a little bit so we can see how focus breathing is, close focusing, tracking, all that good stuff. This is a budget lens, and as I said, it's extremely familiar, but if you've been paying attention, you'll know why I'm testing it. Anyway, let's get into the awkward phase, which is looking at this thing up close in the studio, and then we can crack on with the rest of the video. Look at that box. Instruction manual, USB cable for the all-important firmware upgrade, warranty gel, and the lens itself. Let the battle commence. So let's get that off there. 39mm filter thread. Now the 7 Artisans 27 is almost identical, bar this bit and potentially a few of the specs, maybe, but that's the main thing, as well as the logo, of course, that will differentiate. Now this USB port, USB-C for firmware, has actually been used, which I couldn't do on the 7 Artisans one, which is why I've decided to look at this lens, even though it is almost identical, because I didn't get to try the 7 Artisans 27mm on my T4, which was very annoying, especially as they sent me a firmware which frankly didn't even fit on the memory of the lens. So I don't know what the crack was there. Anyway, we're going to look at this then as if it was fresh. Let's just call it that. 40.5mm full frame equivalent, 55 degrees angle of view, 6 diaphragm blades, 6 elements, 5 groups. As you can see, no aperture ring, but it's a f2.8 f16. The manual focus ring, absolutely fine. STM stepper motor. Let's grab a camera because it just feels a bit weird showing that tiny little thing, well, relatively tiny thing, while talking about the specs. Let's see it actually on a camera. So on my T3, the specs then, some say 25 centimeters, others say 30. If it's 25, that's better than the 7 Artisans version. We shall find out. 167 grams weight, some say 165. We're not going to argue. There's literally nothing else to talk about, but that is how it is on the body. I kind of like that. I think it looks okay. You know, there are smaller 27s that are more my thing visually, but it's absolutely fine. No lens hood. Interesting. Let's see how we get on then. It's rather big for a 27mm f2.8, as no lens hood, and up until now wasn't usable on the T4 and the S10, but happily a firmware update has finally got it working on my X-T4, and that's both in movie mode as you saw before and stills as you've seen throughout this video with zero issues. The manual focus ring is small, slightly heavy to turn, but has a nice knurling, and the lens basically fits and feels at home on my X-T4. There's nothing else to say, as there are no switches or aperturing and the like. Build quality is very good, handling as good as you're going to get with such a simple design. Now, for obvious reasons, everything I said in my video about the 7 Artisans 27mm f2.8 stands with this one, bar that manual focus ring being a bit better on this one, and crucially the lens actually working on my camera now. Autofocus is actually quite good considering This is a STM motor, and yeah, I'm on an older camera. On that front, happy. Sharpness across the frame is very good, color rendering not bad, and contrast quite good. Best IQ is around f5.6. Chromatic aberration, wide open, visible, but not too bad, and that goes by around f4. Distortion is quite evident though, as is vignetting, wide open, but ghosting and flare are both bad. Yeah, bokeh is quite fun, all things considered. It's definitely not perfect, but it's easy to work with. It's nice and fun. Just don't go pixel peeping, of course. I've had this lens for absolutely ages, but with it being 99% identical to the 7 Artisans, and up until now not working on the T4 and S10, I wasn't ready to finish making a video about it. But fair play to Astrhori for finally getting a firmware update to bring this lens up to standard, and I'm very, very happy that they did. At what, £113, I'd say it's a worthy buy. Yes, I much prefer the size of the TT Artisan and Fujifilm 27mm lenses, but this is way cheaper, about £53 cheaper than the TT Artisan and £285 cheaper than the XF lens, and curiously £6 cheaper than the almost identical 7 Artisans 27mm. This actually has nicer packaging for what it's worth. £6 worth? Yeah, well, it's cheaper, so yeah. Anyway, this one focuses closer than the TT Artisan and the Fujifilm, and vignettes less. Definitely pay attention to that, but you know, size, yeah. It is a case of tweaking the exact same lens, putting a different badge on it. But as a standalone product, it's well priced, decent performance considering, and as such a worthy choice for someone on a budget who doesn't need a pancake lens. Have you tried it? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you there.